Hello and welcome to another edition of Brick by Brick with the Wizard of Sales. My name is Kirk Fuqua and I'm the author of the Yellow Brick Road of Insurance Phone Sales and the creator of YBR Training. I've got a great question here today that I want to share with you guys, and if you don't mind bearing with me while I read the question to where we can kind of go into it and figure out how we can avoid these same problems that this person's having. This person reached out, is an agent that reached out to me, and they actually were recommended by their friend to send me a quick email about this, and then this is kind of how the question goes. Ever since we've opened our office back up with the pandemic and everybody staying at home during quarantine, I've been having a lot of trouble with my staff. They've been unhappy, have low morale, and just having overall drama as a whole office. I'm fairly new to the agency and I'm struggling with getting back on track and having everyone on the same page. That's a great question and a problem that I really like to address with you guys, to where maybe if you're having these same type problems that I could maybe give you some perspective on how you can help yourself and your agencies. So one of the things that I always talk about in all the agencies that I work with and my own is the concept of utopia. So I'm not sure if any of you guys know the definition of utopia, and if you look it up, it basically says that it's this perfect, unattainable world. And obviously that's what we want all our offices to be, is this utopian type environment that's perfect and everybody comes to work and they're happy. But the reality is it doesn't really work that way, and that's not really the way it's gonna be. What I do in my agency is I put a little spin on it. I call it the Futopian environment. And so all I really did was just put FU on the front of it. Now, the FU isn't probably what you thought it might be. For me, my last name starts with FU, so it becomes Futopian. But I see where you can see that might be something a little inappropriate, but I just want to make sure I said that. So what happens in the reality, what I've learned over the years and through my trainings, is that really an employee or a staff member really will fall under 4 quadrants during their time of employment. And these 4 quadrants, I'm going to kind of go through them and kind of explain it to you. The first one is high performance, high fulfillment. And that's where we want everybody to be, hopefully, and as many people on the staff to really be in this situation. This is when they have a great attitude and they perform at a high level. They're really great to be around. They're a team player and they're always doing their best and working extremely hard and getting great results. The next category is that high performance person that maybe is a low fulfillment person, or meaning that they might perform at a high rate, but maybe they've got a little attitude, a little problems that come along with them, kind of that Allen Iverson type effect where they're so good they don't need to practice, or they kind of get the big head about their positions. And those things happen, and a lot of times you could work with those people as long as you understand, you know, kind of what their mindset is and what motivates them, and to try and shield them from the other people in the office when it comes to time for them to act kind of out of line. The other, another quadrant is called low performance, low fulfillment, and just to be as blunt as I can, this typically means fired, because if you're not performing really at the expected rate, and you've got a crappy attitude, coming in late or having issues, then you really don't need to be there. If you're not happy there, then maybe you might ought to go do something else, right? And then the last quadrant is those people that are low performance but high fulfillment. That's the ones that have a great attitude, they're very positive, and that's usually those new employees that are, hey, I'm just happy to be here. This place is awesome. I don't know what I'm doing, but it seems real cool. And that's the reality of that quadrant. So our efforts are to try to always put as many people as we can in that high fulfillment and that high performance category. So it's about really self-evaluating yourself and really being honest on what category you're in and how you can fix that. So in this particular question, the agent was having trouble with and drama within their organization. So one of the 2 things that I really talk about a lot are people tension and task tension. They're really significantly different, and they all create stress on your agency and on your life. And so task tension, if I could take a second to explain to you, are all those things you have to do every single day. Checking emails, doing quotes, following up with underwriters. That's all the stuff you have to do. People tension is all the drama, all the high school drama, blah, 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 blah. Did they say this? Did you hear what they said? Look at this, or I'm late, or I'm doing this. There's all this distractions that are not only in the office, but in our personal lives that create this people tension. The reality is when people tension is high, your ability to complete your task diminishes by 50%. And kind of the flip of that, if people tension is low, then you have a 95% ability to complete your task. And this is a true, honest evaluation for you to look at yourself and think about how many times that you've maybe been distracted or kind of off thinking about an argument you maybe had with your spouse or maybe with your kids. And instead of focusing on the task at hand and really compartmentalizing these issues, you're focusing on those and not 100% focused on that task. So one of the things that also comes up when these type issues is the fact that every person on the team has their own perspective of what it takes to be successful, and they're maybe in it just for themselves, and a lot of times that becomes the issue. So one of the things that I did for my agency years ago, and one of the examples that I like to use all the time is I actually got a piece of rope. And I took this piece of rope and I staged a tug of war between the guys in my office and the females in my office. And if you look at this illustration, I positioned all the guys on the side that's kind of staggered out and all the ladies on the side that were pulling in a straight line. Now, who do you think won the tug of war? Obviously, the ladies did, because the guys were all pulling against themselves and had their own agendas and going their own directions. And so many of our offices, that's the reality of it. Everybody in the office has a different agenda. So many great sport teams are built around the opposite of this concept, where it's one team, one heartbeat, as my favorite coach, Coach O, might say as an LSU fan, one team, one heartbeat, and everybody's going in the same direction with the same goal. So how can we get everybody to be on the same page to do the same thing with the same goals and aspirations when we get to the end? So this is about being honest with ourselves and really digging in and creating job titles and structures that it really gives clear definitions of what these people's jobs are and what's expected of them on a daily basis. If you lay down this specific things that are important and that you expect them to do, then they know what their job is and it's clear and it's not foggy anymore, right? And then for that person who has a specific job, or that team member or staff member that has this job, it's your job to work that task or those tasks that's asked of you to the best of your ability with as much effort as you can on a daily basis. And now I understand and know that you would probably aspire to maybe move up economically or move up in organization, and that's fine and that's great, and I want you to work for that, but not at the price of your current position and what you're asked to do. So the thing I always like to say is, when you look at somebody, say for instance like a football team, the quarterback normally gets all the praise and of course all the blame if something happens, but the reality of it is just one of those offensive linemen, if they miss their block, then the whole entire play breaks down. And that's the reality of what happens in our businesses every day, especially in our agencies, because we're small businesses and everybody is on this ship together and we're dependent on everybody. So just a little insight on maybe a perspective that you can maybe make some adjustments in your organization by giving clarity in job titles and what's expected of everybody every day. And if you're that person that has those expectations, do it to the best of your ability and work to continue to get better, but always take 100% accountability and responsibility for your task. So until next time, I hope we have another great question on Brick by Brick with the Wizard of Sales.